Let's talk about the Battle of Narnaul.
Yes, please go ahead. I think we've met now, I think after 10-15 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a beautiful journey. I think this was the longest break the two of us have had.
Yeah, from
Yeah,
after the promotion.
After the promotion. After, in fact, submitting and writing the book.
Correct.
So very nice. Well, let's discuss it over.
Yeah. So, see, when I met you 3 years ago, by the time you had read Battle of Rizangla, and we had a very nice discussion on that hugely successful book, which is now also in Hindi and other languages. And I was very fascinated by the fact that, Madhur, from your childhood,
Please.
I was very fascinated by the fact that from your childhood, you had been in some or the other ways researching on Rao Tularam and the valor of the people of the region of Mahirwal.
Yeah.
So tell us something about that how that as a child you were excited about it. Did your father or grandfather had any role to play?
Yeah.
Or was it because you were not really in Ahirwal at that time? Your family had migrated to Uttarakhand. So tell us about the reasons of your interest in this story.
So what happened is that though my ancestral village is only 5 kilometers from the site of the battle where the Battle of Narnaul happened in 1857, but my great-grandfather in around 1930s shifted to Uttarakhand. Back then it used to be called United Province during the British Raj, and he became a forest contractor and did well for himself. I was born there, studied in Sherwood, then came back to Delhi to do my graduation. But what used to happen is, even during our childhood, my grandfather during winters, because you had this long winter break in boarding school, hill boarding schools, he would do a trip, to the village, take us kids, and he would talk about the Battle of Narnaul, Rao Tularam's stories of how he had heard his forefathers talk about it, and he would tell me, our forefathers fought in this battle. And though there is a road in Delhi and there are a lot of stuff named after him in Haryana and parts, but interestingly, very few people knew about it. And because I had heard it from my grandfather, so this was very fascinating to me, and obviously it's part of our history. So I took it upon, and I didn't even take it upon as a challenge or something. I just took it upon something I just wanted to find out about, research about, find more details about. And Google hardly had anything, and interestingly, there were some old books, some Hindi books, some small literature in Haryana present. Then, some facts, details here and there in National Archive. National Archive back then wasn't as well, it wasn't easy to research back then how it is now with all the portals coming up. So, whatever little research, and then there were books by K.C. Yadav and all these other authors. So, all that was my whole journey of researching and compiling. And that's when I read your book, and you had done the book, the Battle of Rizangla, which itself is a great valor story. And it was easy to read, and it was, and I understood you and me came from the same background. So, and still I did not have the idea of authoring the book. I only called you, why don't you go ahead and do the book? And then you offered that let's do it together, and that's how the journey started.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, I was very impressed by the fact that you have a passion for this subject. B, you have done decent amount of research, though it is scattered in parts, like you said, Hindi books and some other books and some oral tales and वो जो क्या गाते हैं गांव में जो
रागनियां
हैं और चारण भाट वगैरह जो गाते हैं. So you had foundational material. Now, as I told you कि यार मैं भी इस किताब में interested हूँ, इस story में interested हूँ. I come from the same place and this is unrepresented in history. I've been a writer for 20 years now, and I've gone and met so many people. I've represented, as a writer at different forums in different parts of India. And there's a lot of discourse on history.
Correct.
But due to some or the other reason, Ahirwal, Rao Tularam story was missing.
Correct.
So when I met you and I realized you have the foundational material, so I thought instead of me, rediscovering this material, it is better that I, your passion and my passion, if it joins, your basic material, and then together we go on a journey to find more details which is what we did when we went to
London.
London, and
Yeah.
and then thereafter you continued and went
Yeah.
to Moscow. So with all that information, I think now after 2.5 years, this collaborative effort has brought us to this point
Yeah.
that today when we walk into the Penguin stall here,
Yeah.
we find a full box of books, out of which half of which have been sold,
Yeah.
and also right on top,
Yeah.
among the new arrivals, a big poster of book, which apparently I had missed.
Yeah, and my
Unless,
nephew
you know,
saw it.
today your nephew pointed a
Yeah.
finger at that. So it's been a great journey. But specifically about Rao Tularam, if I ask you 3 things to list, which you personally find most fascinating and most inspirational for today's India.
Oh, you know, all this research that I had done and what I had, you know, previously before we both got together was specifically about the battle and about the man. But later, as we went along and you know, we researched and you remember the document that we found in British Library on his interrogation when he was
Of Shiraz.
of Shiraz, at Shiraz. So at Shiraz, when he's captured, he's interrogated. What really fascinated me is that guy's grit and the way he might have answered those 75 questions, and in a foreign land. He is being interrogated by a foreign government at a place where even if they beheaded him, it didn't matter. He could have just done it. And the tactics and the bravery and the way he goes through the interrogation and he survives. That confidence, that level of, you know, self-control, and to make sure to bluff the other guy that I am not Rao Tularam but a Muslim chap going to Karbala.
Yeah.
It's not easy. If you look at it today, that man would have to go through so many problems and survive.
Yeah.
So first, his survival instinct, his grit to get out of a problem. Second, if you remember the two of us when we got along and we read about the battle scene as such, you know, it's he himself, his army wasn't the only army that fought.
Yeah.
He had guys coming from Mewat, he had the Nawab of Jajjar's father-in-law, Samad Khan. He had Jodhpur Legion, which was a Bengali, Purabia soldiers.
Also a small section of Mavs.
And Mewati guys. That's what I said.
And Shekhawati.
Shekhawati. And some Shekhawati guys, but the Shekhawati guys were under his payroll.
Yeah. Employed by him.
So interestingly, he had that, you know, individually people have fought here and there. But he had that charisma that all of them came under his umbrella to fight. Right? And that leadership led people into the fight knowing that Delhi has fallen and they are next. And they still fought. He lost his cousin. He lost, in fact, 2 of his cousins. Samad Khan lost his kids. There were thousands of people who died. And he still survived. And after losing the battle, the courage he had to go take these letters of the 3 estates that we've written about from Jaipur, Jodhpur and Bikaner, and go all the way to Iran on his journey to take get the letters delivered to the Tsar of Russia. Meaning there is courage, there is valor, there is leadership, there is confidence that he'll get out of it and he'll complete this journey. There is so much that the new generation needs to understand and learn. And I think if they read the book, they themselves will be amazed.
Absolutely.
It's a fantastic untold story.
Yeah. Adventure part of it is also very exciting because, you know, his presence of mind was solid.
Oh yeah.
One incident that comes to my mind is once he travels from Mumbai to go to Bushehr in Iran, the journey that took him 25-26 days. And he couldn't have travelled with a lot of people because, you know, that will attract attention of the British spies.
Correct.
That he's someone big. So he was having only a skeletal support of 3 people. And on the very first day, when the ship leaves Mumbai harbour, that time called Bombay, and he sees a poor fakir.
Oh yeah.
You know, poor fakir, and the fakir says his name is Aulad Ali. He's travelling with his wife, and he's very poor. He'll not survive the voyage to Bushehr because he's got no money, nothing to eat. So Rao Tularam, out of mercy, tells his people that, okay, one seir, which is 900 some grams, every day, khichdi, please give it to this person from our account.
Correct.
And that person is fed Aulad Ali. And unfortunately, Rao Tularam doesn't know, his people do not know that Aulad Ali is a British spy.
Yeah.
And the moment they reach Bushehr, and these people go outside the port limits and hire a house for themselves to stay and to figure out how to reach Russia from here.
Yeah. He rats them out.
Aulad Ali rats him out.
Yeah.
He goes to that British officer and says, this guy who has come, ये तीन लोगों को लेकर आया है, ये इंडिया का राजा है जो भगोड़ा है, इसको पकड़ो.
Correct. Correct.
And when this news reaches Rao Tularam and his three people, they decide to run away the same night to some other town. But before running away, this person comes to them.
Yeah.
And Rao Tularam's men want to kill him.
Yeah.
And Tularam says, नहीं यार इसको बांध के अंदर वाले कमरे में छोड़ दो, because he's got a wife.
Yeah.
So you know that human part is so moving that despite this person has really dug their grave. ये लोग फिर वहाँ से रात को निकलते हैं. 26 दिन की जर्नी कर आए हैं. 2 दिन बाद फिर रात को निकल के घोड़ों पे 8 दिन. मैं ऑडियंस को बोलना चाहता हूँ that 8 days they are going to take from Bushehr to Shiraz on horseback.
Yeah.
In 1860. 1860 में कोई रोड नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है, कपड़े नहीं है, ठंडी शुरू हो गई है.
And the enemy is chasing them.
Enemy is chasing them. Whole world, the information has gone. Sketches have gone of Rao Tularam. He can be identified anywhere. He's got a big beard now, and they've got no money. So all they have is courage. And still in his heart, a single thing, a single song, or his heartbeat says that I want Britishers to be thrown out of India because they cannot think of anything good. So that part is something that I think will motivate. It has motivated us enough, and anyone who reads it will motivate that. सपना देखना है ना,
They should be big, very big.
छोटा सपना मत देखो. किंगडम आपकी छोटी हो सकती है, लेकिन
Correct.
सपना आप बड़ा देखो. और शिराज वाली आप बात बताइए, जब वो शिराज में आखिर वो पकड़े गए और जब उनको पकड़ने के लिए आए तो तलवार निकल के वो जो ड्रामा हुआ शहर में, वो बताइए.
So he is now in Shiraz. Information has already been sent from Bushehr that so and so, these 4 Indians who have been, who fought against us are traveling from Bushehr to Shiraz. So the authority in Shiraz has been informed. So, and obviously these people don't know that. And they've taken up a house on rent, and they are living very close to the Vakil Bazaar, which existed back then and still exists. And what happens then is, once the information comes in, the British authority comes in to take them in. And there, instead of surrendering, they draw their swords. They close the door down and they draw their swords and say, if you come up, we'll bloody slaughter you.
Kill you.
Now imagine you are in a foreign country. Now, in fact, today, we take a passport, we go abroad. We are scared to even break a traffic rule. But there he is. It's survival. He's taken the sword and he said, we'll see what happens. It's only then the local Qazi and the Kotwal interfere. And it's to them that they reveal their true identity, that they are kings who have fought against the British East India Company back then, back home, and that's how the whole journey begins. And when they invite these 4 people to meet the local prince, who is the son of the king of Persia, and also the prince and the head of Shiraz, these guys know their, that format where they say, we will not go like that. Get us horses. They change into their royal attire. They maintain their dignity. They maintain their, the background that they come from. That dignity of himself being a king and not bowing down is something that they really take it out. And it's so well documented in that book that we discovered. And
also captured very well in this painting here.
Yeah, and captured in the painting of the cover.
The book cover.
Okay, and one thing more, Bhaiya, which I want to ask you. We in fact unearthed, I think, a whole treasure of documents on him from newspapers in French and Polish and German, who are, documenting the British forces entering into the Rewari fort. From his journey to Persia, the newspaper cuttings, his interrogation in Persia. and the British school that he studied at, and so many other the letters that reached Russia for the Tsar. We got in so much. We could gather in so much information and archives. Why do you think previously nothing was unearthed or nothing was available?
Yeah, nothing was available. I don't think it's anybody's fault. The main reason was that the kingdom was destroyed after Autularam lost, and the family and the area people were scared to talk about this valor for the next 19 years until India got independence. And when India got independence, by the time this information was old, right? So no one came to know. However, I think we'll have to end this interview here. But I must tell my audience that if you're interested in history, now we've told you only 20% outline of what is there in this book. It's a very exciting story of a small 1,000-year-old kingdom in Haryana who fought against the Britishers even after Britishers had retaken Delhi. So do read it. The book is available everywhere, here in the book fair, but also online on discount. And most importantly here, you can also buy this book from Repro Books, books on demand, anytime, anywhere. Such a lovely company. So here is the book.
Here's the book, The Battle of Narnaul.
Battle of Narnaul.